Hello and welcome to another episode of Cascadia Mountain Weather. It's Thursday, April 11th, 2024. My name is Kyle McCrone. I'm here with Wyatt Mullen. And after, kind of some showers this week, we're looking at a really beautiful April weekend.
Yeah, so we're seeing kind of a passing storm move through Thursday night and maybe into the early hours of Friday. I have the radar pulled up here. You can see a pretty characteristic rain shadow and some storms starting to fade in the Cascades. Freezing level right now, snow levels right around 4,000 to 5,000 feet, maybe even 6,000 feet in some areas. So the higher elevations are getting a little bit of snow, but they certainly aren't getting slammed. Earlier this week, we saw a pretty decent amount of snow up in the North Cascades and maybe out towards the Olympics as well. Anywhere from 10 to even 20 inches of snow. Also got a decent amount down near Mount Rainier, and that was around about 4,000 feet and above, maybe a little bit higher. The passes also saw a decent amount, maybe up to 10 inches up above pass level. So we're still seeing some snow, but as we're getting later in the spring, we're seeing those freezing levels rise, and we're seeing kind of generally snow levels, snow amounts dropping. Just highlighting this again, this is the snow water equivalent, or kind of that snow depth as compared to average or percentage of snowpack. About 60% up in the North Cascades. We're starting to lose our percentages down to the south, but it's still kind of in that 80 to 90%, so certainly better than the North and the Olympics. And this is about where we've been for much of the last couple months. So as we go through this week, as Kyle mentioned, we're seeing this last storm move through. And then as we go into the weekend through Friday into Saturday, we're going to see a warming trend and a drying trend. And it looks like another beautiful weekend, honestly. We're going to see freezing levels bump up pretty high, especially by Sunday in kind of that 8 to 10,000 foot range. So it will be pretty warm, probably 5 to maybe 10 degrees above normal. But it should be really, really nice conditions out there. This is the 24-hour precip as we move forward. So this is ending 5 a.m. Friday, and this is mostly has already fallen. And then as we go into 5 a.m. Saturday, so kind of all throughout the day, throughout the day tomorrow, you can see there's a couple of showers still hanging around early Friday, but as we get later into Friday, so this is 5 p.m. Friday to 5 p.m. Saturday, they really start to fade out. And then Saturday and Sunday looks pretty dry. Maybe we'll start to see some precipitation coming in late Sunday night. So just be aware of that if you're out kind of after dark on Sunday night. In terms of snowfall, like I said, most of this has already fallen. Maybe some areas up above 5,000 feet got up to maybe 6 to 8 inches, maybe up to 10 up in the North Cascades and the Olympics. But don't expect enormous amounts. This actually storm came in a little bit drier than even was modeled as this morning. So looking at temperatures, just highlighting the fact that today and the last couple of days have been pretty close to normal. But as we move into the weekend, this is about 3,000 feet near Snoqualmie Pass, bumping up to almost 60 degrees. So we might see some low 60s in the lower elevations of the mountains, 50s, and probably upper 40s in the higher elevations. We're probably going to see freezes on most nights because it will remain clear, especially Friday, Saturday night. Before the next storm comes in, kind of that Sunday night, Monday night, when it looks like snow levels will drop down again. In terms of clouds, we're starting right now with clouds as this precipitation moves through, and we'll see more scattered clouds gradually breaking up as we move into Friday. And then it really clears out over the Cascades Saturday morning. You might see a couple high clouds, maybe some areas of fog in the lower elevations, but it should be beautiful Saturday and most of Sunday before clouds start to move in and build up, especially Sunday evening with that next storm kind of moving in. Another thing I wanted to note is some of the conditions on the road. So as we move later in the spring, passes are starting to reopen. So we haven't seen any passes open quite yet, but the Washington State Department of Transportation has really been working on North Cascades Highway. They've cleared out up to Washington Pass so far. And so I wouldn't be surprised in the next couple of weeks if we see that opening, in addition to some of the passes further south that usually close for the winter. And we can kind of see that here. This is once again looking at our map of snow depth throughout the state. And if we zoom in into the North Cascades, you can see that, like, even without the clearing that they normally do, snow depth gets pretty low as you move up towards Rainy Pass. So kind of that standard North Cascades highway. And then it's definitely deeper in this area, and that's where they're doing most of their clearing now. But in general, snow level's probably in like the 3,500 to 5,000 feet, maybe a little bit lower in north-facing aspects, and maybe a little bit higher in south-facing aspects. So just be aware of that. Not all the trails are melted out yet, but there are some that normally would be under quite a bit of snow right now that you probably can drive up to.
Thanks, Wyatt. So most of the ski areas have kind of maintained snow depth or lost a little bit, but I think in the actual ski areas, like the runs that people are skiing, it's definitely getting pretty thin. So Stevens Pass and Alpental are probably open for their last weekends this weekend. If you have a pass and you're looking to get the most of it, be a great, probably some good spring snow. Get out there. Baker, might hold on a little bit longer. Crystal, maybe another month or something, but definitely getting towards the end of resort ski season. So we're also getting towards the end of NWAC, Northwest Avalanche Center's daily forecast. So this Sunday is the last full day of winter operations, so they won't be giving avalanche forecasts after that. But there still will be fresh snow. There still will be avalanche hazards. So it's important to, use your best judgment going forward. The main hazard this weekend out in the mountains is the warming. So you can see, despite 2+ feet of fresh snow in the west north zone, they're highlighting the number one problem is wet loose. We also could probably see some wet slabs and other stuff. And NWAC has been kind of highlighting that the snowpack is still quite wintry. It hasn't really transitioned to spring, meaning that the snowpack is relatively dry. There's a lot of different layers. So while the weather may feel like spring, while the snow line may feel like spring, there's definitely still some concerns in the transitioning snowpack. So that's something to look at, this weekend. Definitely think about what time you're on, more solar aspects, hazards above you, cornices, etc., because these are the type of warm-ups that can see those unexpected avalanches. This is a photo Wyatt took from the east slopes of the Cascades last year, around this time. So wildflowers are starting to get going out there. Wildflowers are starting to get going in my home Issy Alps. They're probably not quite peaked on the east side yet, but definitely a good alternative if you're looking out to if you're looking to get out and enjoy this part of Washington when it is really, really green and beautiful. So after a warm weekend and then a brief cool down, we're probably looking at warmer and drier temperatures in the second week from now. But, beyond that, who knows? Finally, thanks to our Patreons that support us. So these individuals help support us, and in return, they get weekly recreation recommendations where we go into a little more detail about the types of things we're looking at skiing or running or climbing, and it can help you make the most of your weekend. So if that's something that interests you, we encourage you to visit cascadiamountainweather.com. You can also follow the link in our show notes. So thank you to everyone for watching. We hope you have a great